All right, welcome back to Two Stupid Guys Trade Stocks. I'm Vinny,
I'm Dylan.
and today we're going to talk about some background budgeting stuff. And Dylan and I are going to talk about how we budget, where like our money goes, because ultimately to have money in the market making you more money, you need to make sure that you're utilizing your basic income to the best degree you can, right?
Yeah, got to have money to invest.
Yeah, exactly. That's it's all about how you budget to make sure that you have the maximum number of dollars to contribute to investments that can go out and earn you more dollars. It's a beautiful thing. So, some background rules on how Dylan likes to approach budgeting. Basically, if you can't afford 10 of them, you can't afford one of them, right? Does that make sense?
Nope.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, not at all. If
Yeah,
we're trying to buy an Xbox, got to have $5,000 because I think it's $500.
yeah. I mean, that makes good sense. And it's kind of funny with your point number two here, that designer clothing. It's actually, when you look at a company to buy, you want to buy the company that makes all that money just from their brand name. But when you're budgeting for yourself, you don't want to do that at all.
Not at all. Yeah, kind of an opposite. I use there's like all these services like Fresh. I do Fresh Clean Tees, but there's like a bunch of them. And honestly, the shirts are like really nice, and there's no like labels on it, and it's like $10 a shirt. I'm not gonna pay. Like shoes is another one. I don't know how people spend so much money on shoes.
Yeah. People love brand names, man. That's why they're worth something. That's what that intangible asset is on the balance sheet, right?
It's crazy.
Yeah, and this is another one people love, man. You see everyone driving around in like brand new cars with car payments for life. Have you ever done the math out on like what that adds up to if you like stay in a car payment for your entirety of your like working life?
It's horrific. It's like one of the most rapid depreciating assets you can ever put to your name, unless
Yeah,
it's like I don't know, like a Ferrari or something. But
yeah, like a
it's not.
Ford GT first generation.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Graham Stephan.
Yeah. But my Ford Explorer definitely lost like half its value in like 2 years.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Um, yeah, but if you actually look at that over like the lifetime, it would actually be on the order of a significant enhancement to your retirement. Put it that way.
yeah, no, it's not good. The rule is if you want a new car, do it like 2 years old is a sweet spot. It's a decent
Yeah,
amount of depreciation. And then if you're like me, just pay it off and drive it until it literally dies and you can't do it anymore.
yeah. If you look at like number of miles of life remaining per like dollar cost to buy the vehicle, it's right around that 2 to 3 year mark when it comes off lease, because they usually lease
Yeah.
like 24 to 36 months. That's like the ideal time period to buy the vehicle.
Yeah. Don't buy your car.
Yeah, exactly. This one I am very guilty of. I mean, those French fries look delicious.
As we're going to see at the end when we look at your budgeting, which I looked at.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, so yeah,
So,
yeah. This is kind of Dylan's background here about like never buying soda. Basically, you're paying all that extra money for that fizzy water. The reason why McDonald's always asks if you want to make it a meal is because those are the high profit items for them, the Coca-Cola and the French fries. And even worse so when you look at like children's meals, like yeah,
oh yeah, it's
yeah.
bad.
Yeah, they actually will lose money when they include the price of the toy on each child's meal. But the reason why they do it is to get mom and dad to come in too and sell them like what is this, a Big Mac meal? I don't know.
I don't eat McDonald's, but the burger itself is like usually if you just get an entree, it's like $4.50 or $5.50. The drink is $2.75 or $3. So just bring a water. It's healthier, one, and two, you're not being ridiculous and getting a bunch of food that's not good for you, way overpriced.
Yeah,
Everyone thinks fast food is cheap. It's the meat. It's the burger that's cheap.
yeah.
Nothing else is cheap.
I don't think. Well, what is the one potato that's in this thing cost them? About 45 cents.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So if you want to take
All right,
a
goals. So you want to be able to have, now this is a hefty goal, but you want to have 50% of all income earned should be split between investments and savings. So if you make 50 grand a year, your goal is to make 25 grand, investment savings. More importantly, you want to have an emergency fund. And this is because life happens, right? how much I said 6 months. How much do you think, Vinny? What would you do?
No, it really depends on where you're starting out. If you read like any Dave Ramsey stuff, he says start with $1,000. $1,000 I think is too small. $2,000 is a much more reasonable goal for the average kind of person just getting started on financial health. But yeah, 6 months is a pretty good middle of the road kind of number. That's 6 months of expenses, so it's not
Yeah.
6 months of income.
Yeah, no, no, not 6 months of income. That's way too much.
Yeah.
No, so I break down the mandatory bills, but I personally like 6 months. Another thing is find ways to increase your income. We've done videos on this. I think 7 people watched it. It's pretty good. But like I sold a bunch of stuff on Craigslist and I bought a gaming computer and wasn't that hard. I sold like a ridiculous amount of toasters that I found. Use credit cards intelligently.
Yeah.
It's free cash. You gotta have self-discipline. Amazon, actually, I have their card. They did a thing during the pandemic where it was, I think, 4% cash back or 5% cash back on everything.
Yeah.
Not just Amazon.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, they know. There was a recent study that looked at paying with a credit card versus paying cash, and that on average, when you're paying with a credit card, your ticket price goes up 17 to 18%, somewhere in that ballpark, exactly. So even though you are getting these cash back, you are spending at a higher degree than you would normally if you were just spending cash. So you have to be really cognizant of that. Like I am a credit card user, as you'll see one of our other videos, but it's definitely something you have to be on the lookout for pitfalls with.
Yeah, no, it definitely depends. But like usually they'll have that benefit. It'll say pay cash, like at restaurants. Sometimes they'll have that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
And then yeah, you haven't used it in a year, sell it.
Yeah. Do you guys have basements in Arizona?
No. Well, most people don't.
Yeah, that's pretty much where all the stuff goes. If you live in New England like I do, so anything in your basement, it probably hasn't been used in a year, other than like holiday decorations. You could probably start selling some of that stuff.
Yeah, basements are cool. I lived in Rhode Island for 2-3 years.
Yeah.
It's weird having a basement.
Yeah, it's very creepy.
All right, so let's say you don't have the self-discipline to do the credit cards, right? This is called the envelope system. So you get 5 envelopes. You set your cash down as you earn it into these 5 envelopes. The first one being the most important, rent or mortgage, car payment, insurance, electric, water, all that stuff that you have to have. Food, as in groceries, not eating out, that you have to live. Then the next 2 envelopes, savings and investments. And then the last one with that red arrow, anything that's left.
Yeah.
So there you go. But you fill them up from left to right.
So you're not a pay yourself first kind of guy, savings investment first?
Actually, I am, but that's,
Yeah. No, it's a good spot. I mean, some people will reverse these 2 columns, and they'll actually have the savings investments up front and then kind of go into your mandatory expenses and kind of go down the line. Ultimately, the goal is this eating out entertainment budget is kind of like, stuff to keep you from going insane, but not like it shouldn't be a large portion of your budget.
Yeah, and if you don't have the self-discipline, if you just do credit cards, you really don't have a sense of how much you're spending with credit cards sometimes because it's so easy. Whereas cash, you have to take it out of the envelope. I used to do that actually when I was like 24. Yeah. It's like, man, is this worth it? Because this is a problem now. I only have this for the whole month.
Yeah.
So
what I do sometimes too is I'll put it into reference and say like, this is 1 hour of my work. This is like 1
that's
hour
a good way to do it.
Yeah. The other funny thing too is like, I don't know if you ever thought about this or heard about this, but that's part of the psychology. That's why when you go to a casino, right, you don't put cash right on the table and gamble with cash. You give them cash, they give you chips, and then you gamble with the chips. Because if you really saw that was $100 you put on, like, that one hand of blackjack, you might think twice about it.
Oh, that's a good point. That's pretty
They're trying to distance you psychologically between you and your money.
That's pretty smart.
The psychology of casinos is fascinating.
Yeah,
actually.
I don't gamble, so I'm out on that one.
Yeah,
unless it's sports.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh God, yeah, and Fubo TV.
It's not a gamble.
All right. So this is kind of like your budget breakdown of where you put the percentage of your money. Yeah.
Yep. So I had just did my taxes, so this was easier to get. But basically, I only do 3 envelopes. Granted, I don't do any envelopes because I'm disciplined enough. I can just do credit cards now. But I spent from the last April to April, kind of during the whole pandemic era, 18.4% on all mandatory funds listed there, and what that is. Investments, non-stock related, home remodel, and then I have like an LLC that I can use to build stuff up and also deduct things. The cool thing about that is that 13.3% spent, that entire thing is tax deductible.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was really excited about that. That was
Yeah.
pretty dope. And then credit cards, this is so 13.5% of my income. That was everything else: vet bills, repair, all entertainment, dates, groceries. There's an engagement ring in there too.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, I didn't spend that much money.
Did you
No,
get
no,
any machines where you put the quarter in and like turn it a couple times?
yeah, they'll never know. No, I'm just kidding. It's a nice rig, but I didn't spend a lot on like anything else. Especially like going out. I just like I you know I have like a lot of friends. We'll just like play board games and stuff. Like that's free, and we just all hang out, and one person buys alcohol. It's really easy. We just rotate.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that left 54% of my total income. Oh, you messed up, didn't you?
I want to go back.
And then I spread that out between taxes, savings, and stocks. And then, like I said, I also got $1,000 in card benefits and $1,800 from Craigslist that I spent on a computer just to see if I can do it, to be honest.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, we're gonna talk a little bit about my budget here. Actually, I use a spreadsheet to track it. This is a little out of date as far as which ones. So some of these things have changed over time. But this was kind of I had started my first job after finishing grad school, and we were really trying to combine our finances, my wife and I, which is an interesting thing that you're going to have to tackle in your near future there, Dylan. But so we actually would track our expenses and see like where everything was going. As you can kind of see, the real glaring one here that Dylan was kind of making fun of me for was the dining out budget. We really whiffed on that one. We're pretty notorious folks for going like, hey, what do you want to do for dinner? It's like, I don't know. I don't feel like cooking. I'm like, okay, just go ahead and pick something up.
Yep. DoorDash and Postmates made bank during this pandemic.
Oh yeah. We'll talk a little bit about Uber Eats in one of our other upcoming videos on the MX Platinum card. I'll link it up here.
There you go.
But yeah, so this is just generally how it goes. And I know Dylan has got a dog, and we have 3 dogs. So the dogs definitely can really surprise you sometimes. When you talk about that envelope method, people do what they call sinking funds, meaning every month you put a certain number of dollars into one of those envelopes so that when you have these once a year vet bills, basically, you have that money there. That was kind of what caught us in this particular month as far as the vet stuff goes. We had, I think, 2 of them had their annual visits, so got a little spendy.
Nova's cost me $4,000 on Monday for an ACL repair.
Yeah, I hear you.
Nice.
I have one with a heart issue, and that costs us about $1,000 a year just for maintenance right now.
Yep.
Yeah. So is it individually kind of putting our expenses in as we incurred them into this little tracker, which then you're able to put into the main budget and see where you're spending all your money. So definitely gives you an idea of some of the restaurants we enjoy here. And yes, Milkman is still a thing.
Yeah, I added that.
Yeah.
I'm really glad you didn't see that.
Yeah.
If anyone's wondering, they have milkmen in like the boonies in Rhode Island where they actually drop off milk. I didn't know that was a thing. Still a thing.
Yeah, it's still a thing. It's still a pretty cool thing, actually. It actually helped us out during the whole pandemic when there were certain things that you couldn't really get a hold of. We were still able to, like, eggs became like hard to get a hold of at one point in time. We would literally get our eggs like delivered once a week through the milkman. I know, fascinating stuff, right, Dylan?
Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous.
And don't forget, you gotta stay green. That no one has a perfect budget. Dylan's budget's pretty solid, honestly. Mine definitely needs some quite a bit of improvement, but along with investing and personal finance, it's an evolving thing, I think, in that what really matters is that you're continuing to grow and like try to be better and better every year, right?
That's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. Any final parting words there, Dylan?
No, but the more you invest earlier, the more you gain, because it's kind of exponential growth for your investments. So the sooner you start, the better.
Yeah, exactly. I do like the, Dylan and I are going to do a video at some point about like points we agree and disagree with Dave Ramsey about, but his catchphrase about like, live like no one else, so later you can live like no one else. You ever heard that
Oh,
before?
yeah, actually that's a pretty good cut. I didn't know that was him.
It's true. Yeah, exactly. So what he means by that is like, don't live above your means, try to budget. And then later on in life, you're going to realize like you have more money than you know what to do with if you made the right decisions for a few decades.
Yeah, right. It pays off.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. Check us out on the next one.
Have a good one.